Hi, it's Mark Kirstein with Our Senior Power. I've got a confession to make. I use ChatGPT on a regular basis to prepare my podcasts. Now, of course, considering my podcasts are about how to use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence to improve the quality of seniors' lives, seems to be kind of relevant. So I thought I'd walk you through some of the steps that I take and some of the things that I observe and see if that helps you as well. Each week I start asking ChatGPT, what topics should I consider? And I have a bit of a brainstorming session back and forth. So I might ask it, how are seniors typically using AI? And then as I learn, I can tailor what I'm doing for my podcast to try to help them improve things. It gave me 7 ways. One of them is exactly how I use it on a regular basis. If you're using AI as a replacement for Google, you're not wrong. As a matter of fact, that's the way most people are using AI and ChatGPT these days. Instead of asking Google to do a search for them, they ask a question of the AI and the AI gives a response. But there's a next level. AI is a helper, a partner, and I'll show you a simple way and a couple of tips and techniques to do that. So let's go back to the top 7 ways that seniors today are using ChatGPT to improve their quality of life. First off, the number 1 method, they write messages. They write emails, text, letters, etc. They might explain some confusing stuff, like explain a bill or some mail or explain some instructions. Now, the third one is the way that I use it on a regular basis. How do I? Questions. Help. How do I go about fixing something that's wrong with my phone or fixing something in my house? Prepare for going to a doctor, try to keep track of some of the questions that I have, try to get an advanced awareness of what's going on, create some notes, create some plain language that makes me more effective when I manage my health. Scam checking, trying to stay safe online and make sure that people aren't taking advantage of us. Planning ideas, planning out meals, planning out travel, planning out hobbies. And last, curiosity or companionship. So number 3, how do I do something? That's an everyday use for me. Sometimes it's quick question, quick response. Sometimes it's repeatable. The more advanced we get is when we make it repeatable and it adds even more value. So big idea, Google versus AI. Most people's introduction to AI or chatbots is by replacing Google and using it to ask a question instead of to do a search. Google gives links, AI gives a plan. Most people stop at the search replacement. The next level is to turn ChatGPT into a repeatable helper, and I'll show you how to do that. So here's a couple of things we want to think about when we're talking about ChatGPT as a repeatable helper and a repeatable formula for how to get the most out of your interaction with ChatGPT. First, there's 3 words I want to share with you: goal, rules, and background. For each of our chats, we're going to use that. The goal, what am I trying to accomplish? Rules, keep it simple. Give it preferences for how I like my response, give it limits, and then background. What are the facts that it needs to know in order for it to be most effective at providing the information that I'm looking for? Let's take a couple of examples. You're my phone helper. I have an iPhone. Take me step by step for how I reset this setting, and it'll step you through the element. I'm going to show you how I use ChatGPT for this podcast because that's my how-to, and that's the use case that I use on a regular basis, at least once or twice a week, each time as I prepare to figure out what I'm going to talk about and how I can add value. Give me 5 topics of interest. Help me draft my script. Give me videos, images, and illustrations that align with my topic. What are the 5 potential titles for the topic that I've selected? And which one is best and why? These are the questions that I use each week. Now here's the magic and moving beyond it being a replacement for search. Don't start over every time. Make it repeatable and a continuous interaction that we have. Make one conversation for each of the different topics. I might have one conversation for my fitness, another for phone issues, another for my podcast. Come back to the specific chat based on the topic that you're doing and give it a quick update. Here's what's changed since the last time we talked. What is my next question for it? As you keep doing this, it becomes your ongoing helper and it remembers your last conversation and continues to get better and better at interacting with you. Much different than just using it as a search engine. I want to give you a tip or a technique of how you can go about reusing the chats and make it easier. This concept that I'm going to share with you is going to help. Think of a chat or a discussion like a single page in a notebook. I might go back to that single page when I want to repeat or continue to use it for the next level of questions that I have, but I keep all of my topics on that single sheet. Second topic I want to give you is a project. It's basically like a binder that combines our topics and our conversations that are on the same topic, and it allows us to name it so it's easier to find the chat when we want to go back to it. Now, the third concept I want to give you is a little bit more advanced, but it's not scary. Stick with me and you'll find out that this is something that you can grow into the more you use the tool, and it follows the same rules that we've laid out already. It's called a custom GPT, and it's a helper with a built-in job description that becomes repeatable because we told it the rules and the goals and the background up front. And then when we come back to that custom GPT, it already knows how to interact with us and how to give us what we want. All this means is that you're going to be a little bit deliberate about the same techniques and topics that I've described before. Remember, goals, rules, and background. And ChatGPT will walk you through how to create that custom GPT. Give it the goals, give it the rules, give it the background, and then start using it. When you create a custom GPT, it's deliberately structured for the reuse. So let's go back to using ChatGPT for my podcast. I've created a custom GPT for it, and it knows that each time that I come in, I want to select a topic, I want to interact back and forth, I want to generate the various steps that I need in order to execute on it. It knows that I want the images, a description for YouTube, and that I want a title for it. Now, when I start using this on a week-by-week basis over and over again, it remembers all those past topics and it remembers my preferences, and it just gets better and better each time I use it. But it also becomes more and more automated in terms of giving me what I need in the format that I need as quickly as possible. There's 2 lanes that I want you to think of. Lane 1, it's for everybody. It's better questions and reusing the conversation. Lane 2, as we grow, we can start to layer a project, which is just an organizing techniques of my various chats, and custom GPT, which is a repeatable and sustainable helper. As you can imagine, you can go as far as you want. ChatGPT is capable of automating, becoming your agent on your behalf. It's even capable of creating software and executing it for you. But you don't need to be an engineer in order to use some of these features. You can just use as much as you want and as much as you understand and feel comfortable, but also don't be afraid to push the boundaries a little bit. So my challenge for you today, ask one how do I question with the ChatGPT and add goals and rules so that you get better results out of it. Save the conversation and come back to it tomorrow and do an update on it using the same topic for the same chat thread, and then try to save it into a project. Once you get the hang of this, you're going to be a star. This is Mark Kirstein with Our Senior Power.